Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about a true American dynasty in the making, the Kelsey family.
Is America's mom a faithful or is she a traitor? And more importantly, what does Taylor Swift think about all of this?
No one has yet figured out what Taylor Swift thinks about all
Will
of
she be
this.
commenting on her mother in law's appearance on the Traitors? We simply don't know yet.
As you have probably guessed, today kicks off our coverage of the Traitors USA season 4. They dropped 3 episodes on Peacock. It was like
A
Christmas
gift?
morning all over again. I got, I think, more gifts from Peacock than I got on actual Christmas morning. These first 3 episodes did not disappoint.
They truly did not. I'm so excited to get into everything that happened. But first, a little housekeeping. We will be covering the new Emily Henry adaptation, People We Meet on Vacation, as well as the first 4 episodes of the new season of Love is Blind Germany over on Rich Text. So if you want to stay up to date and get that episode, you can subscribe at claireandemma.substack.com.
But let's get into the beginning of this season of The Traitors because 3 episodes, we can't waste any
No.
time.
Also, reminder, we did go over the cast in our previous Love to See It episode. So if you want to start with a cast primer, go back in the feed and check that out.
Yes. Go back to see many of my assumptions immediately exploded, but always
That's the fun.
fun. That's the fun of punditry is
We know
finding out how
nothing.
bad you are at understanding the world. So, episode 1, the cast as always arrives under cover of
The
darkness.
drama is immediate. And this is something I love about the Traitors. It is all camp.
Yes. I think that one of the joys of the Traitors in a moment like this, I was thinking this morning, as I was watching, is that, like, there's so much just, like, scapegoating and hatred and finger pointing and just, like, cruel attempts to make meaning out of the world by villainizing other people right now. And to have that done in this very controlled, high drama, high camp environment is sort of, it gives you that feeling of control over this like terrifying dynamic.
Yeah. And then at the end, no one is harmed.
Exactly. And then at the end, they're all friends. And I'm like, this is the best way for the scapegoating dynamic to play
I
out.
think we need to get all the world leaders into a castle, get
Yeah.
them near Alan Cumming, and they can work out all of their aggression and their like masculinity issues in the
Yeah, maybe
safety of a castle.
with no vulnerable groups of, like, immigrants
No,
nearby. They
and
can
no
just do it to
weapons,
each
no
other and
bombs. Yeah, just
exactly.
it like group therapy for tiny dicked world leaders.
Excellent idea. Unfortunately, instead, we're doing it with a bunch of reality stars and Olympic figure skaters, but we'll take what we can
It is
get.
more
It's psychically
fun.
healing for
Yeah.
us, yes. So, we have the cast come in their black cars. Obviously, as usual, many of the gamers, the people who are professional, like game players on the strategy shows, they want to be traitors. But it seems like more and more we're seeing other kinds of people, cast members, admit that they want to be traitors. Like a lot of people used to come in being like, I just want to be faithful. That's all I know. Not anymore. We're seeing more people being like, yeah, maybe I was on Love Island. Maybe I'm a housewife, but I want the power. I want to be the main
That's the
character.
thing. The main character, who was it? Was it Rinna who observed that or Candace?
I think it was
Yeah.
Candace.
And she was like, I have main character energy. Like, I want to be a main character. I want to be a traitor. And yeah, a lot of these people do not need the money. They need the
Yeah.
exposure. They need the fun. They're in here for like
Right.
the love of the game and the attention.
And for a lot of these, like, honestly, being a traitor is very risky. A lot of the time, we see faithfuls win the game, but to be the main character throughout for someone who is a professional celebrity already
Right.
is such an ideal way to grow
Like,
their
they don't
brand.
need the money for the most part.
Right. Whereas like a gamer who is unlikely to translate that into a ton of like influencer deals, they're like, I need this prize specifically to send my son to college.
Right.
So different goals, but they all want to be traders, including Colton, who wants to be a trader, Lisa Rinna, like everyone wants to be a trader. Um, we do see Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir, our Olympic figure skating BFFs, show up pretending not to be besties for the game, and they're doing such a good job of it that I kind of keep forgetting that they're best friends. I
They
never
are
see them
it is
together.
so impressive. I
Right.
assume we will see that shift perhaps towards the end of the game if they both make it far enough, but they're doing such a good job. Like, no one
Yeah.
is suspicious that they're helping each other. When there are challenges where you have to pair up with someone, they intentionally choose other people. And also,
Yeah.
clearly, the rest of the cast, not enough of them watch Olympic figure skating
Yeah.
commentary.
They're like, "Who are you? A figure skater? Cool." Yeah, I do think that toward the end, if there are only a few people left, it would start to be suspicious that they're not closer, but right now they can kinda get lost in the crowd. Um, Rob Roush from Love Island is really, I think, excited to be on a more fully clothed reality show.
He's just so quietly deadpan funny. Like, immediately he sits down for his interview and he's like, it's weird to be wearing clothes. We've been here for 10 minutes. I haven't made out with anybody yet. I'm like,
Yeah.
you are identifying the differences between the Traitors and Love Island.
Yeah, although I've seen the way that Maura Higgins is, like, eyeing him, and I think that she would like for there to be some making out happening. He's like, "Rob, you're so strong, you'll keep me safe." Um, so we get to know the cast a little bit through these interviews, and they're starting to, like, already suss each other out. Who's gonna be a target? Who has maybe hidden strengths? Dorinda is looking at Donna Kelsey and she's like, "Oh, well, no one's gonna murder her. Like, the Swifties will come for you."
This is invoked so many times.
She's under the protective umbrella of Taylor Swift.
As we see, that can only take you so far.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that they can all sit at the round table and be like, "I love you so
Yeah.
much, and I hope we can vacation together one
And
day."
you've
Maybe
raised some truly incredible sons.
Yes, and also, you're so intelligent that I have to assume that you're a
Yeah.
traitor. Um, so Alan arrives, and he immediately reveals that there's going to be a twist.
I love this.
I love it. This is actually a twist that we have been kind of like wanting, and they figured out a good way to do it. We've been like, wouldn't it be interesting if we, the audience, didn't know who the traitor is? But then, that's kind of limiting in terms of what they can show, and it lessens the dramatic irony. And he instead picks one secret traitor right at the
Brilliant.
beginning. Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. This secret traitor is selected in plain view by way of a very dramatic, like, opening of a box for each player. And there's a traitor card in one of the boxes. And the identity of this traitor remains a secret to the viewers, to the other traitors. This is such a smart twist.
Brilliant. I mean, they get to actually see with their own eyes, watch, and try to assess people's reactions till seeing the box. But they haven't had a chance to like mingle really yet and suss each other out to see what their baseline is. A lot of them have no experience of each other, haven't watched each other's shows, have never met. And so there is that kind of like difficulty level still. And then none of us know. And I'm like, can I figure out who the traitor is? No.
No, I was, like,
I
keeping
can't.
lists trying to do elimination. I was like, "This is hard."
Yeah, I'm really, really quite bad at it.
Yeah, I would be
I was
very bad at this game.
I was doing the terrible kind of reasoning that's like, well, none of the other traders are gamers, so mathematically,
Yeah.
it's probably a gamer. Mathematically, like, that's not how it works, Claire.
Yeah, you and Michael Rapaport have the
We
same logic.
we need remedial math. We don't know what math even is. What does math convey? What is it about? So they all sit down for their first round table after the secret traitor is selected. They're blindfolded as usual, and Alan does the classic traitor selection process. He walks around all of them around the round table, and if they feel his hand on their shoulder, that means they're a traitor. And this really threw me for a loop because he went for a completely gamer-free group of traitors.
I thought these choices were inspired. We end up with Candace Dillard Bassett from Real Housewives of Potomac, Lisa Rinna from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Rob Roush from Love Island. I feel like this is
Like,
for us.
inspired. Yes. It is. It's for us. They were catering to their non
The non
competition
yeah.
show viewers. But I also think that in a way they do try to like zig when people expect to zag on the show. Last season, everyone was obsessed with how it had to be a housewife cabal who were the traitors, and it just wasn't a housewife cabal running the traitors, and so it led them astray.
And now we
And
actually do have two housewives.
two housewives and a dating reality show contestant who is more like in their world than say a gamer type.
Putting a Love Island person into the Traitors turret is kind of brilliant because I do think
Mm.
in general people see Love Island cast as a bunch of like bimbos and himbos for lack of a better term. Like they tend to be younger, they tend to be like more like guileless, and it's just Rob is like the perfect first Love Island person to be named a
Yeah.
traitor.
Yeah. He looks like a himbo, but he clearly loves strategy games.
Yeah.
He's in his element. He's very observant. Um and I think he has good instincts. And it's really fun to see him connecting, honestly, with and I didn't watch Love Island, but I know how all the beats go, and I know the kinds of drama he is involved in. It's fun to see a guy like him connecting with women on that level as, like, we're playing a game, a strategy game together. You're really fun to play with. And I was like, "Oh, my brain has been poisoned by watching men just, like, hook up with women and then toss them aside on
Right.
TV
Like
for
seeing
for
like
a
a
decade."
burgeoning friendship between Lisa Rinna and Rob Roush is
So
beautiful.
cute. I love it.
Yeah, and Rinna and Candace are both just like really, really fun characters.
Yeah, and because it's kind of like the 2 big sisters, little brother dynamic where they set the tone in the tower, so when they come in and they're all just like, "Eh." And then Rob's like, "Girl," and they're like, "Girl." I'm like, "Yeah, because he's the little baby brother."
So good.
They're setting the culture. So really good start. I was like, amazing choices. No one's going to be expecting Housewives this season because everyone was so led astray by Hunting Housewives last season. And then Michael Rapaport started talking.
Oh my God. And every time Michael Rapaport speaks, just utter nonsense comes out of his mouth.
He is just, I'm sorry, he's just an annoying,
He's so obnoxious.
loudmouth bully. I don't like him.
No,
Like,
no
and
one
politics
really
haven't even come
does.
up, but you can just tell that you would
You know,
have terrible
he's
politics.
just obnoxious, and you see over these 3 episodes how it's really starting to grate on a lot of the cast. They're just like, I don't want to be around this energy. But he also just does not really think before he speaks. So he's like immediately puts a target on his own back by coming in and being like, so I'm sure that at least one of the gamers and one of the housewives is a traitor.
Just mathematically.
So you immediately now have 10 people who are like, you've just put a target on my back.
Right. And I don't like that. He also tells Rob that his quietness is going to get him into trouble, and Rob is like, "I'm just a quiet guy." And he's like, "I'm just telling you it's gonna get you into trouble." "Okay, Michael, you being a loudmouth bully is gonna get you into trouble, but you don't seem concerned about that." Whenever anyone tells Michael that it's not strategic for him to alienate people like this, he's like, "This game is called The Traitors. It's about finding traitors. It doesn't matter if you don't like someone, it's about finding the traitors." And I'm like, I don't know. You seem to understand the social game when you're pointing out flaws in other people's social game.
Right.
You know it exists. You just don't
No.
think anyone should have to hold your behavior to
This is
account in
the
any
thing, I
way.
can see it now. Michael, is going to get sent home just because people are annoyed with him at a certain point, which did happen last
Yeah.
season to at least one guy.
Yeah. It's kind of like, as someone observed, protecting him a little bit at this point because he's so attention grabbing that he is convenient for the actual traders to have
Yeah,
around.
there's no reason to eliminate him right now. He's not particularly smart. He's not particularly powerful. He's not really a threat to anyone, but I feel like at some
Yeah.
point,
It is funny that he has somehow convinced Tiffany that he is actually a traitor, and we
he's
have what
unaware. He's unaware he's convinced her of this.
yeah, inadvertently, he
Yeah.
has convinced her this, and so you have one of, like, the smartest gamers in the game sucking up nonstop to this completely useless, powerless bully, and I'm
Uh,
like, "Tiffany, look around you, like, this man could not he doesn't have the self-control." All he does is just, like, talk shit, and then he's like, "That's what I do. I talk shit. I'm good at
and
it."
everyone's like, "Yeah, no, we get it. We're just annoyed by it."
Yeah, and, like, how is it serving you? How is what's the point? So yeah, he starts out just by alienating half the crew immediately. But Candace is smart. You know, she makes a bit of a big deal about like, "Oh, I'm not just a housewife, I have 2 degrees. I worked in the White House, I'm savvy, I'm cunning." True, but she gets out over her skis a little bit right away, and I think that it's gonna maybe come back to bite her because people are gonna stow away some of these things for when she's in the
Yeah.
crossfire,
Yeah.
when she's in the crosshairs, because she immediately is starting to try to, like, seed people. Even before she knows who the other traders are, she's like, "I think Lisa Rinna could do it. I think she could really pull it
Like
off."
Candace.
She's like, "I think a faithful would speculate." I'm like, "First of all, you're both housewives. I thought you were going to stick together."
Also, wait to speculate until tomorrow morning.
Right, no one's gonna say, "Oh, she didn't speculate immediately, she waited to speculate." You could have just not said anyone
It's like
specific.
also like Candace, you're too good because
Right,
she is a
because 'cause you're
traitor.
right, yeah, she is
Yeah.
a traitor, but she's like, "I have to be a faithful when I'm with the faithfuls." Candace, say a little less. She also, like, later she's gonna do more of this kind of just like loosely trying to throw suspicion on people by making up stories in a sort of
There's
injudicious way. And
always
I'm
the
like, Candace,
traders
you're too
always
smart
do
for
this. The
this.
traders always get a
There are
little
like
too
20,
active.
there are 22 other people around. Someone is gonna be able to say that's not what happened. And it's gonna look really suspicious. So she falls into that trap right away, but, so far she's been able to kind of throw off suspicion. So everyone goes to bed this first night, and the 3 traders that we know, Rob, Candace, and Lisa, meet in the turret, and it turns out that they are not going to find out the 4th trader's identity, and they didn't realize that.
They're like, I thought we were the main characters. You're telling me there's a secret main
A
character?
secret that seems like almost the most main character energy of all.
Yeah, they're like, we've been demoted.
Yeah, like, there's also an enigmatic one. Come on. But Candace and Lisa are so, excited to have 2 housewives in the turret. It's it's a historic first,
It is, and it's
breaking
important.
breaking that highest and hardest glass ceiling, having 2 housewives in the traitor turret. And Rob arrives next, which is when they realize that none of them were in that first public selection, and that there must be a fourth traitor. Alan arrives and tells them that the fourth traitor is going to stay a secret, and they're going to influence the game in an unseen way. They're going to be like the power behind the curtain. They're going to be the unseen hand. They're going to get to select a short list of players to
That
murder.
is so much power.
It's a lot of power. They can really profoundly affect the game of the traitors, and that would serve to complicate the work of the faithful as well, to decipher who the traitors might be from their choices.
Right.
Rob, Candace, and Lisa get to choose a murder victim from the short list, but it turns out that, like, so far the lists have been mostly fairly short. Like, there hasn't been, like, a lot of selection for some of these first murders.
Right. There's often like maybe 10 people who are even up for murder, and then the short list is 4 people.
That's hardly anyone. And so we don't really know what goes into the selection of those short lists because we don't get to see the secret traitor at work. But we know at a certain point in the game, they will have a chance to unite with the secret traitor and make their games
One.
one. Yeah, that is what we learn. Um, unless the secret traitor is banished before that happens. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we will get into the, as always, completely unhinged missions.
And we are back, and it's time for the first mission.
These
I
missions,
love them. I love them. They're so insane. They are all always cinematic.
they're more cinematic than logical. Like
Well,
I
yeah.
always
Duh.
I've sort of stopped trying to understand what
You
happens in the
don't need
mission.
to. That's the whole point, is you literally don't need to understand. So the first mission is in the lock. There are 100 coffins floating in the lock. 12 of the coffins contain money for the prize pot. They have like dollar signs engraved onto them. And the cast members, by way of boats, like group boats, have to ID the coffins worth gold, tow them to shore, and then put them in a grave in order to secure the money that that coffin is worth.
Yeah, I thought this was completely impossible, and then I realized the coffins don't actually have anything inside,
Yeah,
and
they're just
so you
boxes.
I was like, "Wow, and the body inside is really gonna weigh you down, Claire. There's no body." It's a bit of a race against time, as always, with many complicated rules, but one of the parts of the strategy starts right away, which is, like, who is gonna be in charge of the boats, who is going to lead the rowing, and, of course, it's, like, the 3 young, strong dudes.
I will say that the misogynist energy is a lot lower this season already.
Yeah, I was wondering if that is because they've structured these challenges a little bit differently.
That's possible. Also,
Because
you
there
seem
wasn't to me a clear, like, they, I guess they could have certainly had all the strong dudes be like, "Let's get together," but there wasn't a clear advantage to doing that.
right. There's no incentive to doing that because you want kind of like a mix of people in each boat in order for them to be the most effective.
Right, because you're also carrying the most
Right. You
weight
need
if
weight
you have all the
distribution.
heaviest guys, and until they start the mission, they don't actually know the second part of the mission, which is that they're going to be putting coffins, into graves with people's names on them, and those people will be up for murder. So maybe
Right.
there would have been some sense of, like, we could hoard all of the coffins, but
And they're not really alliances yet. So it's just they're just
yeah.
kind of trying to get the money at this point
I
because it's
just
the first
really clearly
mission.
yeah, I just really clearly remember the missions last time. I was like, it's so obvious that it's very easy for the smaller, less physically strong people to
To just get,
be
like, bullied out.
targeted,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's just not how this challenge is set
I
up,
do
which I
wonder there was
appreciate.
some really loud feedback about those
Yeah,
dynamics, and so I do wonder if, production made a bigger effort to, like, mitigate those
yeah.
dynamics. I also did notice that a lot of, like, the big, strong men are of a, like, softer masculinity varietal. Like, you have more of, like
Right.
Stephen Coletti being like, "The gracious thing is to, like, allow a woman to," like, there's, like, chivalry
Right.
happening.
It's like my
Yeah, my
mother
mother would
would
be
would be
horrified if I
so
behaved in this
ashamed.
way. Yeah.
I must let a lady sit upon the throne, because I am a gentleman. Yeah, I think last season we had some, like, really macho gamer bros who are like, "I'm strong, and so I
And
deserve
also
to dominate
fuck everyone
and
else.
fuck everyone."
Yeah.
And, yeah, we're not most of the gamers this season are women or
Or, like, soft
queer
boys.
or soft boys.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a little bit more, and then we have our, like, WB, like,
Right.
reality dating show himbos. So, Stephen Coletti takes charge of a boat. He has, a California boater's license, not to brag. Unfortunately, his boat does immediately get stuck on a shoal.
It's unfortunate.
I think, several of their boats are
It can
Colton
happen
has
to
to
the
get
best
out
of
and
us.
Colton has to get out and push his boat, and everyone is starting to get also kind of, like, turned on by all the men pushing the boats, and they're getting, like, catcalls a lot. Like, "Oh." So there is a boat led by Colton with, Johnny Weir, Yam Yam or Jam
So, they
Jam.
it's
People pronounce it
spelled
both
it's
ways.
spelled yam yam, but it's pronounced jam jam from what I
Okay.
can tell.
Seemed like Jam Jam was the
Yeah.
most used, so that's probably right. And, also in their boat is Monet Exchange, and they're like, "The gays are gonna stick together. Like, this is this
It's
is
like
the
a
queer
boat of
boat."
gays plus Donna Kelsey, which feels right.
It does
Yeah.
feel it feels like there's a good affinity there. They all wanna hang out with Taylor Swift. Then also Rob Roush leads a boat, and so they start getting those caskets, and then they start to realize that if they put a casket into someone else's grave, that person is up for murder. The goal is to try to get the most caskets with the most money into the graves of people who aren't in your boat. Some people take it really personally when a casket ends up in their
Yeah.
grave.
A lot of
Michael
people
Rapaport.
just end up having, graves in their caskets because they're in the first row, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
caskets in their grave. I said graves in their caskets. Caskets in their graves simply because their grave is closer to shore.
yeah, and also, like, people are looking around, they're like, "I don't want it to be someone from my crew. Over there is someone from
Right.
the other
Like,
crew.
I'm
We'll put
gonna
it in there."
say it's not that pointed.
Michael Rapaport sees that his name has a casket under it, and he's like, "Unbelievable. I can't believe someone is already gunning for me. I'm so angry. Like, what's wrong
Like,
with you for
"Sir
doing that?"
sir, calm down."
His whole arc on the show so far is just like that meme that's like Michael Jordan, I think. It's like, "And I took that
Yeah,
personally." Like,
yeah.
anything happens at all in the
He's
game,
like,
and Michael
"I
Rapaport is
do have
like,
a
"I took
personal
that personally."
grievance."
But, like, some of them are also just like, "Oh, I'm gonna put a casket under Eric's name because he's so sweet. No one will murder him
Yeah.
anyway." And then he sees it and he's like, "Someone hates me already." So it's kind of chaotic also because they don't wanna stand around talking strategy. They wanna get
Right,
back and get
there's
more
a time crunch
caskets.
here. So by the end of the game, there are 9 coffins in the graves. They get $22,000 for the prize pot, and Ron, Rob R, Donna, Eric, Michael, Ian, Dorinda, Rob C, and Mark are all up for murder. Kind of a random crew.
Yeah. Dorinda is pissed because this is what happened to
No, she's
her
like, "I'm
last
triggered." Yeah, Dorinda is triggered. She's like, "How I cannot go home night 1 again."
Yeah, and the same dynamic where half of the people get to go home and have a hot meal
Yeah.
and get changed while they have to wait,
And
and
that
fill their
and
graves.
that challenge was also on the water. So, it's just a lot
Yeah.
of tough memories coming back for Dorinda.
Candace, on the way back, tells Portia that Michael was gunning for her grave and that he was yelling, like, "Let's put the caskets in the housewives' graves."
This
And
is such an error. This was such an error, and I cannot believe she recovered from it, at
I
least for
it was
now.
shocking. that attention got turned away from this to me. This was such an unforced misstep.
Like, she just made a really direct claim about someone that is easily disproved. And so, of
Right,
course,
and she doesn't
Portia.
even stand behind it and say like, "Yeah, I said that because I heard him say it." She's like, "Oh, you misheard me." Like,
But then
you
Portia
can't
and
even
Candace are friends, and so this ends up
Right,
working.
right. I mean, also, like, I think everyone just gets distracted during the conversation, and it ends up being about people other than Candace somehow. Like, no one is staying on topic in these conversations.
Also, Portia is just constantly making verbal flubs, so I think she even doubts herself at a certain point.
Well, and also because she's making these verbal flubs, everyone starts to think that it's Portia
Right.
when Candace is the one who's been caught in a very obvious, unnecessary lie trying to throw suspicion on Michael. And it was unnecessary because Michael had been talking shit about the
Right. Also, he
housewives.
he's doing enough himself. You
Right,
don't need to do anything.
right. Like, uh, this was such a tough move. And I also thought since Portia and Candace were friends, I was a little bit surprised that Portia pushed it as much as she did publicly.
Well, what
Because it
comes out
started to seem like
later,
she was trying to catch Candace.
but I think she just thought that Candace was going to be like, "Yeah, you said that," and that they were gonna gang up against Michael. Like, I really don't
Right.
think it crossed her mind at all that that Candace could have been saying something incorrect, like, because she's
Yeah.
so confused when
Yeah.
Candace denies it, and it's to the point that she trusts Candace so much that she's like, "Oh, maybe I did mishear." And lucky for Candace, they were in a car with Maura, who is just, like, exhausted and out of it after the challenge and has no memory of the conversation.
Yeah. Maura's like, "I
Maura's
don't
like,
remember anything."
I don't know what happened."
Maura's such a is, like, more of a classic Love
She
Island
is.
bimbo. I think she's like, "People don't understand that I'm very smart. I watch a lot of true crime." Like, "I bet you do, Maura."
Same girl.
Inside the mind of a killer. Yeah, so Michael and others deny that he ever said this. Candace is like, "Oh, no, I was just saying." The day before, he was saying things about housewives, and Portia's like, "Okay, maybe I misunderstood." I rewound and watched. It was very
It's very
clear
clear.
what Candace she was like, "He was yelling, 'Get the housewives' casket into the graves,' from his boat." And this does generate a little bit of suspicion from Portia toward Candace, but they do have that housewife sisterhood. There's a trust there, and so it doesn't really go further.
This is when Rob starts to observe that Candace might be putting herself into the mix a little too much.
They remind me a little bit of the dynamic between Phaedra and Dan as traitors in season 2, where Dan is really concerned that Phaedra is too out there and is gonna create suspicion, which is true in the end. There is suspicion that does gather around Phaedra, but also Dan is so quiet and plays his cards so close to the vest that that creates suspicion, and I think Rob does play things a little bit quiet and that people know to be suspicious of that too.
Yeah, that could come back around. I will also say that the dynamic just isn't as contentious as of now, at least in these first 3 episodes, because
No.
Rob isn't a dick and Dan was just a
Yeah,
huge dick.
yeah, it's a dick. Yeah, no, he's, like, a little concerned that she needs to, like, chill out, but he doesn't become, like, condescending about
Right.
it that we can see. So that night, the secret traitor makes a short list of 4, and then the 3 regular, not secret traitors meet in the turret to see the shortlist and make their selection. And the shortlist is Rob R, Ian, Mark, and Eric.
So they're frustrated because they now only have received 3 names of people that they know for sure are not the secret traitor because Rob Roush is on there. So they're like,
Right.
that name is not useful to us for like information gathering purposes. And also, it only leaves them with 3 choices. But they do all
Yeah.
observe, huh, why was Michael taken off of this list?
Right. Who wouldn't want to get rid of Michael? It must, they were like, it's probably
Yeah.
Michael. Like, if he doesn't, someone who wants Michael to stay. Sounds like a Michael to me.
So that's where we end episode 1. Moving right into episode 2, the traitors are weighing their options.
Yes, and the next morning, we see, of course, the players, like, trickling into breakfast, and eventually we learn that the first murdered player is Ian, who previously won Big Brother.
Just a quiet gamer.
Yeah, and Tiffany gives a big speech, like, about how hard it was for Ian to come, but he chose to do it anyway and overcome his fears. I was a little bit confused because he won Big Brother, and, like, I don't know what would be scary about coming, but since I didn't, like, watch his show, I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
don't
there's
know.
more to that.
But they're clearly close. But everyone's sort of
Yeah.
like, huh, Tiffany, why are you going so hard?
And I was kinda like, "Well, they're friends," but then, like, the next episode when Candace and Lisa, like, lead a toast for Rob C when he leaves, and I was like, "Oh, I see.
Yeah, you're like, guys don't
This
know.
is a thing."
Yeah.
The traitors, like,
Stop.
doing a sad toast over the person they killed. So after they kind of absorb the shock of this, they're all trying to figure out what this could mean. You know, there's a little bit of suspicion on Tiffany for giving that speech. Tiffany is starting to think that Donna Kelsey could be a
I
traitor.
think everyone's looking around. They see Donna Kelsey and they're like, wouldn't that be a great move to make Donna Kelsey a traitor? Because she's
Yeah.
so unassuming.
She's like the mom next door. Could your mom ever knife you in the back? No. Like that's not what moms do. They make you chicken breasts and then send you off to football practice.
But luckily for Donna, Portia just starts flubbing all over the place.
I really felt so
Me
bad for
too.
for Portia. Well, what's so funny is that later at the round table, it becomes clear why she made this flub, which is like they're all kind of thinking about it this way and making this kind of flub. Michael does the same thing, which is she's like, "Well, we killed Ian last night, and now we've gotten rid of someone. We only have 22 people left," and it's like, "Oh, we killed Ian?
Except she
Big
says
mistake."
when I killed Ian.
Right. That was actually, like, a real flop.
It was
Yeah.
weird, like, to the point where Ron and Donna are both sitting there like,
No, I was really
"What?"
No, you're right. That was even a step
Yeah.
beyond. That was really funny. And she doesn't even
No, she has
notice.
no idea she said it. Like, it was clearly a complete misstep, which is why later when someone says she said it, it's not even like she argues. She's like, maybe I did." Like,
Maybe
I don't
I did, I don't know. If you were a traitor, that would be such a crazy mistake
Right,
to
that's the
make.
thing. I'm like, if someone says that, it's just, to me, so much more likely that they're not a traitor, but at the same time, it's so early that you gotta take any little sign that you can.
Well, right. Say that she said that because she slipped up because she's a traitor and she's just not very good at compartmentalizing and playing the game. And then everyone was like, oh, it was probably just a mistake. And then she wins the game and takes all the money
Right.
because she was a traitor the whole time. Like, you have to take it seriously when
Yeah.
someone is like, I killed Ian. But like, she clearly was just like, the parts of the sentence went together
Right.
wrong. And we know that because we know she's not a traitor. So, it's unfortunate, but she makes this kind of slip a couple of
Yeah, no,
times.
it happens like 3 times. That's part of the problem.
And then the fact that she inadvertently caught Candace in a lie because Candace was doing some traitor nonsense, that also reflects on Portia because people are like, "You started a fight with Candace claiming she said something that she didn't say."
Right. So they're like, well, all of this is adding up, especially
Yeah.
for Ron, who is the one who is witnessing most of these verbal flubs. But first, a mission, another mission. The players are taken like far from the castle,
For a Game of Thrones.
literal.
Sorry, I had to. So they have 3 thrones that are, like, on carts, and they have to push the carts with the thrones all the way back to the
It's
castle, which
very
is, of course,
physical.
very far away, and they're upset. They're like, "This is a really long way to push a throne," FYI. I don't think I should have to do that. Sitting on a throne gives you immunity from murder. But along the path, players who aren't sitting on the thrones can stop and collect shield tokens, which will allow them to swap places with the person sitting in the throne. And so just 3 players will end up with the shields at the end. But if they fail to make it back to the castle within 45 minutes, they will earn nothing. And there will be no time check-in. So they also have to really hustle.
They have to like keep time in their heads. I was like, this is so hard.
I know. And I thought that this actually was a little bit unfair to the ladies because everyone wants to put the light people in the thrones at the beginning
Which
so they're easier
does
to
make
push.
sense.
Right. But then as it happens, those people are not going to end up on thrones at the end because they will be getting kicked out of the seat. They won't have as many opportunities to like.
Well, what you want is to be the first round in the throne. So you get a break from pushing the throne, but you're not in the throne by the time the third stop comes along. Because also,
But did
what
any
it
of those people end up with who ends up with the
Caroline. Caroline is on there for a while. It's
but
basically a rotation of like tiny housewives.
yeah. Yeah.
Also, at the beginning, they also put like some of the women who are also like a little older. Like it's not like they put Mora
Yeah.
up
Or
there.
like the men come in at the end and are like, it's time for me to get protection
Yeah.
because I'm gonna be a target. As a man, people are coming for me.
But I also like at first I was thinking, oh, can you like get a token at the second stop and hoard it? But no, you have to essentially use it right away. So like really only the tokens found at stop 3 are relevant to who gets a shield.
Right. Maybe you get a break from pushing,
Yeah.
but like, yeah. And if you have the second, as you said, like the second sit, you won't get a token to swap out. Maybe no one finds a token, you get to keep your seat. Maybe
Or someone
someone is
takes pity
generous
on
and
you.
takes pity on you, which is the strategy of some of the women. So they start with some tiny ladies sitting in the seats, and both Stephen and Monet find shields earlier, shield tokens, like at like the first or second stop, very gallantly give them to housewives. And also I'm sure are just like, I need to keep pushing because I'm a big, strong,
I mean,
burly
that's the other
guy.
piece of it is they're like, there's a time crunch here and we're going to end up with $0 if we don't all
Right.
make it. So like,
Better for me to push, like Lisa Rinna
yeah,
than for Lisa to push me. We'll never get there. So they get to the third stop, and this is when people like Colton are like, it's time for me to actually try to get a shield. And he does find one, and he kicks Lisa Rinna off a throne.
everyone's very
Uh,
annoyed who has to push him. They're like, he's a literal football player.
he's huge.
Yeah.
Um, it's a huge advantage in other parts of the competition, but not when you're being pushed on a throne. Rob Roush also gets one, and he gives it to Yam Yam, which I thought was fascinating because it's not strategic. I really feel like no one clocked this.
I was like, how did he not, like, how did no one find this suspicious? I think it's just because Jam Jam wanted it so bad that they're like,
Right.
well, okay. Like,
Well, and I think that this created also the impression that there was going to be a sort of a hearing where they could all debate who got to have the token, at least among Michael Rapaports of the show.
yeah, really, that it created that impression just for Michael because Jam Jam basically just gave Rob Roush, as he puts it, like sad puppy eyes, and Rob immediately gives him the token.
Which is it's so crazy. Like, I'm sorry if I can't believe no one was like, why did Rob give
Right?
his
Isn't
shield
Rob
away?
worried? He was up
Isn't
for
Rob
murder. He was
worried?
up for murder last time.
Yeah. Why isn't he worried? He should be more worried.
No one
Doesn't seem to
notices.
occur to anyone. But that's partly because Michael is truly the traitor's best ally at this point. He creates such a huge stink, basically has like a full toddler tantrum over not getting a chance to make his case for the
Like,
token,
sir, there are
that no
only
one is
3.
talking about how Rob was giving it away at all.
Yeah,
Which is like,
no one even clocks it because Jam Jam dethrones Mora, and we just end up with Jam Jam, Colton, and Caroline are with the shields.
And immediately Michael's just like, "Can we talk about the fact that I didn't get to make a case? You should only take that token if you genuinely feel you might be a
They
target."
all might be.
I was
Michael,
like,
it's
what do you mean?"
episode 2.
He's like, "Do you really think you're a target, Jam Jam?" And Jam Jam's
Yes.
like, "Yes, I'm a very successful gamer. Like, I definitely think I'm a target." Why does Michael think he's a target? Because he knows everyone hates
'Cause
him?
he did it to himself. He's such a baby. I was like,
Ugh,
"You are a big baby." I literally wrote in the notes, "Baby!" exclamation
baby,
point.
baby behavior. Like, this is embarrassing. I think that Stephen Coletti's mom should take a second crack at raising Michael
Michael, yeah.
Rapaport. Just learn to show some restraint. Um, and so they do end up with 10 minutes to spare. They earn $22,500 for the prize pot.
Pretty good. 10 minutes to spare. I was impressed. They were running
Yeah.
those thrones.
I mean, honestly, it makes you think maybe sometimes they take it easier in the challenges because they have the time checks. They were like, we actually can push harder if we need to. Michael's like, there was time for a jury trial about who gets that token, and we did not do it.
Jesus Christ, Michael, calm down.
Afterwards, Ron and Donna are putting their head together a little bit. They've connected, it seems like partly because Ron once worked on a TV show with Travis
Yeah,
Kelce.
Donna's like, "I know he's a nice guy."
If he would he have worked on a show with my son Travis Kelce if he weren't a nice guy? I don't think so. And so they're kind of confiding in each other and they're getting suspicious of Portia because Ron really clocked more than one slip
And
from
Donna was there
Portia.
for those as well, and we do see her
Yeah.
clock them as well. So they are sorta like, "Okay, we have to throw Portia's name out there at the round table." At the same
Yeah.
time, a bunch of other people like Colton, Natalie, Candace are throwing Donna's name out there. They're like, "She's so quiet. She would be a good traitor. She really hasn't put her 2 cents in. She hasn't talked gameplay with anyone yet. Like, we're a couple days in. This is suspicious."
Yeah. And people are starting to say, it kind of seems like her demeanor changed after the selection. She got very quiet. She seems a little uncomfortable. It kind of
Is
seems
she
like,
nervous for a reason?
yeah, it's all starting to add up. And I'm like, not Donna Kelsey. She hasn't told me anything about what it's like to be Taylor Swift's future mother-in-law yet. And no one's even like asked her about
I know,
it.
they're just talking about it with each other.
Right. They're all talking about how afraid they are to anger her future daughter-in-law's fans.
They're like, "You cannot fuck with Swifties. We're scared."
So it's time for the first roundtable and banishment, and Natalie immediately throws Donna's name out there. And Donna's like, I'm just reserved. That's just my personality. Like, I'm not attached to anyone here. I don't like have these connections already. So I'm just kind of like being a little quiet for now, and you'll all get to know me. Um, Ron then throws out Portia's name, and he is prepared with a little bit more evidence because she has had these very specific, clear verbal flubs, plus that misunderstanding with Candace, which makes it seem like one of them was maybe not being honest. And yeah, I guess because Maura didn't remember what happened in the car, it was unclear if Portia was lying about what Candace said or if Candace was lying about what she said to
Yeah, there
Portia.
was really no way to litigate it, but it's like that starts stacking up with the fact that a few people heard Portia say, "When I murdered Ian last night." And
Yeah.
also, she very definitively states at one point that there are 4 traitors. And it's like, why
That
would
was
you know
crazy.
that? Also,
Why
because I'm like,
does
you're
she know
right.
that?
I'm like, she's right, but why?
Right.
Why does she
Why
even
does
think
she
that?
know? I was getting a little bit suspicious of some tomfoolery. I was like, has Candace been like telling her?
No.
Like, it's just
Or
weird.
is she just being like, well, normally there
Yeah.
are 3 or 4 traitors, and if there's like an extra one. But It's just like, why would you she said it so definitively. It's just
Right, and, like, there's no way why would there necessarily be an extra
there
one? Like,
wouldn't. Right,
you could choose
there
only
could be 3 or
2.
there could be 4. Like,
Yeah. I don't it's weird. It's
it's weird
maybe
that
she
she
has,
said
like, the
that.
3rd eye, she has the sight, I don't know. But Candace does defend Portia, and after she steps in, she's like, "I trust Portia."
Portia
She just,
just
like
misspeaks.
sometimes she just misspeaks, and, like, that can happen when you're in a stressful situation, I'm sure we all understand. And then Donna pipes up and is like, "What about you, Candace?"
Again, Candace is lucky this does not catch on.
Again, yeah, nothing gathers behind that. Then Michael manages to say, "We got rid of Ian."
It's incredible. I was like, "This round table is art. This is amazing." And everyone is like, "What?"
What do you mean we? I really think that, like, there is some element of people looking around and being like, "We're in a game. We no longer have Ian here. We got rid of them.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I
we lost
actually
them."
understand why he said that.
But it's like, you're a mess.
Be more
Like,
careful, my
tighten
guy.
up. Like, and I would be more understanding of his verbal flubs if he weren't also being such a dick all the time.
Exactly. So the votes just end up kind of split. We ultimately end up with 8 votes for Donna, 10 votes for Portia because Ron makes a very compelling case with his evidence, and 4 votes for Michael just because
And
he's a dick.
right, Michael wasn't even like a target really going into this. He just like drew so much negative attention that people were like, you know what? Fuck it. Maybe it's
I mean,
Michael.
that's what ends up happening at every round table that we
Right.
see.
And they start they're saying the thing that we've seen before, which is like maybe you're a traitor, but or maybe you're just a faithful who is creating a huge distraction
Right,
every
you're
time
bad
we
for the
try to.
game, which is why I do think eventually he will get sent home because at a certain
Yeah.
point the faithfuls are gonna just get annoyed with him.
It's true. I
Yeah.
mean, I do think that a big reason that they're not talking about Rob R especially is that they all could have been clocking that Rob R gave away his
Yep,
shield.
Michael
Michael
pitched a
was throwing a
fit. Yeah, now
tantrum.
literally no one remembers that that happened.
Yeah. They're just like, we can't focus. You're like you're emitting sounds that just scramble our brain waves. Like every time you talk, I get confused because it's so annoying.
So ultimately, Portia is the first one banished, and she is predictably a faithful.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Ron is like, I feel horrible. I sent a beautiful woman home.
Yeah. Should have sent an ugly woman home, Ron, then it would feel better. No, he feels really bad. Always when you are the one to, like,
Yeah, it
rally support
sucks. And
behind
then
some
you're
plus,
wrong.
you're wrong, you feel a little guilty, you feel like now no one trusts me, they think I had some ulterior motives
Ron
for.
turns into such a sad character. Like, I started getting
Yeah,
so sad for him because he also just, he like takes defeat and is just like, well, it's who I am now, just a guy no one trusts.
yeah. He is, like, not a professional strategy
No,
gamer.
he's a
He's a
comedian.
comedian. It's a different kind of world. On that note, let's take a quick break. When we get back, the rest of this first drop of episodes.
So after the round table, the traitors get letters from Alan. They have to murder in plain sight tonight. This
Mm,
always happens, but I was like, this is early. This is early for this to happen, and I love it. And this seemed like a particularly difficult mission. So they learn that there are 4 tarot cards hidden behind a portrait in the kitchen. There's like a player's face on each tarot card. So that's how they're going to find out about the short list. They have to get these cards from the kitchen, discuss the short list with their fellow traders, and then burn the card of the selected player in the breakfast room. This
yeah.
is so difficult. These are like 2 main rooms in the house, and especially the kitchen. That's like where everyone gathers because they're literally eating.
Right. And it's like, why would you be burning a card in the fireplace?
Well, at
That's,
least that's not a room where everyone's gathering except at breakfast, but it's like
but
weird. They could
it's like
walk
right off
in.
the
If you
hallway.
walk in and see someone just like burning shit, they're screwed.
Yeah. Like in a way, it seemed easier to me than trying to get someone to drink from the poison chalice because you don't have to convince anyone to specifically do anything. In a perfect world, no one sees you at all. There's no, like, "I hope they don't remember that I asked them to drink from this cup tomorrow,"
Right.
right?
But high
Because they
levels of being
refused.
caught because you have to
Yeah,
do 2 very clear physical acts in 2 different rooms.
yeah, but they do a really good
I
job
thought this was so
of staying out of
impressive.
honestly, and the way that they work together is so smooth. They communicate really well in subtle ways. They don't have to do a lot of, like, buttonholing each other and, like, loudly whispering. There's a lot of, like, just, like, "Let's what if I go show you this game over here?
And they
Oh,
just
chess? Do
play
you know how to play
along,
chess?" And they yeah, exactly. They're yes-anding each other. And Candace takes on the mission of distracting. So she's like, "I've had a whole glass of wine and I have to now turn on my bad bitch and serve."
The other twist of this is that if they succeed in this mission, they, of course, complete the murder, but they also get to meet the secret traitor. And if they're unsuccessful, there's going to be no murder at all tonight, and they will lose total control over the next day's murder. So, like, that
Yeah, there'll
is
be no
bad.
meeting. Yeah. No, the stakes are high and they really want to make this happen. So Candace stages a conga line.
Which is great. And, like, as she later states, she's like, "I'm an extra." Like, I'm an extra. I'm extra. Like, she's a housewife. So if
Yeah.
anyone can just do something a little bonkers without raising suspicion, it is a housewife.
Right, like, Rob Roush could not start a conga line without,
No.
confusing people. She's like, "I've been wanting to do a conga line, and now's the time. Let's do it."
It seems like it was literally something that had been discussed before
Yeah.
that we hadn't
Yeah,
seen. Because
I
she's
know.
like, "It's time. This is the perfect time."
Should I just do it now?
Yeah.
But or she's just lying really
Yeah.
convincingly that everyone's like, "Oh, she must have told the others that she wanted to do a conga line."
Well, I found this to be, like, pretty genius because it draws a
Yeah.
lot of people out from the side rooms to the
And
hall.
then Rob is, like, exactly the right personality to be, "Fuck it, I'm not doing a conga
Right, like, he,
line.
like,
I'm, like,
joins
going
for
in
a bit, and then he's
here."
like, "Okay, no." And yeah,
That's what he
that's
would
what he
do.
would do. So he hangs back, grabs the card from behind the kitchen portrait, immediately, like, looks at them, pockets them. He has the information. First part of the mission complete.
Yes, and the short list is Monet, Rob C, Tara, and Kristen. Um, conveniently, Rob C is on the list because Rob C needs to get got.
Because he
He
is
has
really good at this game.
yeah, he's like, the vibes are strange, like, people are cutting up, like, I feel like there's a murder happening in plain sight tonight.
Which is
And he says
wild.
this to, like, Candace. He says this to multiple people.
And Candace is like, "How does he know? He's telling me what I'm doing as I'm doing
Well,
it."
but I feel like this, based on what little I know of Rob C, is kind of the Rob C story, which is that he's very smart about the game, but he's not actually smart about how to stay in the
Right, he can't
game.
win the game, but he's so smart.
Like, he's telling one of the traders what's happening in the game, thus telegraphing how smart he is about the game.
But the crazy part is that, of course, spoiler alert, Rob C is the one that they end up murdering, but Candace is not
That's
able to
true.
communicate with Rob Roush and Rinna about the fact that this happened until like 2 days later.
Right. Well, Rob just knows that Rob C is
Yeah,
smart and needs to go.
exactly.
But so it didn't need to have that specific piece of
But it
information
is just
for it
like
to happen. But
for the show, you're like, this is beautiful.
yeah, no, it was perfect. So Rob Roush gets Renna alone by pretending to teach her to play chess.
So good.
And he's like, they're like, it's perfect. We're gonna be sitting alone in a corner. No one's gonna want to like come hang out while we're playing chess. We'll be able to just kind of talk, but it won't seem like we're whispering together. Immediately, Tara Lipinski comes over and like watches them intently. Not only, like, the opposite of what you want under any circumstances, she is actually one of the 4 people on the short list.
And everything just is so tense. She doesn't clock anything. She eventually just moves away, but it is a very tense
Yeah,
moment.
'cause he's in the middle of being like, let's say that this piece is Tara, this piece is Kristen, this is Monet, this is
It's
Rob
very
C.
smart. He assigns different
Tara sits
players.
down as he's, like, finishing explaining this, and they're like,
So
so
if you were to
if
move
you were to what
yeah,
move would you do
yeah.
next, do you think? Well, where would we start with the pieces? Which let's go back to the beginning." But it seems like he decides that it should be Rob C, and he points to that piece, and Rena's like, "Yeah,
Yes.
sounds good." Um, so meanwhile, Rob C is going around being like, "They're trying to do a murder in plain sight. Don't do anything unusual. Don't accept a drink from someone. They can't get you." And I'm like, "Oh, Rob, you think that
They're not gonna do the same kind of
they're
murder
gonna
in
do the
plain
same
sight.
murder? They figured out a way to murder you where you don't have to drink from a poison chalice at all." So Rob R and Lisa do manage to sneak into the breakfast room and light the card on fire. And it's just under the wire, just before the clock really sends them all to bed. And people are already starting to go upstairs, and they just manage to get it done. And Candace knows that it was completed, but she has to go to bed without knowing who was on the short list or who they chose to murder.
She really
But I'm
took one
like,
for the team here.
she did. And that is what makes them so far a very well-oiled traitor team, because
Yes.
the need to like corner them and be like, "What happened? I have to know." That's what's going to get you.
Right, she has
People see
restraint.
you.
She walks
Yeah.
into the breakfast room and sees that, like, a fire that it's clearly happened, but she does not seek any more information. She doesn't draw attention. She just has to process that herself and wait until the morning.
Yeah, I would not thrive in this
No, I would be
position.
like, "Tell me." So, episode 3, the next morning, everyone comes into breakfast, and the 3 shielded players, Colton, Jam Jam, and Caroline, come in first, and they are suspicious of Michael and Ron.
Yes, Ron has attracted attention by saving Donna, by throwing suspicion
On
on someone who turned
Portia.
out to not be a traitor. And Candace is freaking out because Rob C correctly deduced that the traitors were doing their murder in plain sight. And she's like, he's hot on our heels. Like, he knows too
Right,
much.
she's like, "He better have gotten murdered or else we're very screwed." She also doesn't know, like, who else he told.
Right. Exactly.
Lucky for her, he only seemed to tell her and Mark Ballas.
And despite knowing about the murder in plain sight, he's not even able to save himself. So Tiffany tells Michael that she only voted for him because Jam Jam told her to. And like, she kind of makes it sound like Jam Jam was like threatening her.
I was like, "Tiffany."
I was like, Tiffany. She's like, I think Jam Jam is a traitor. And now Michael is also on that train. And he is going to bring the kind of scapegoating dynamics of real world politics right now into this. Like, not textually, like, he's not going to say anything, but, like, the vibes are starting to be there where he's just like, "I just don't trust this, like, brown queer person, and I don't think he deserves my respect." And I don't like it. Like, the minute that Jam Jam gets into Michael's crosshairs, I'm like, it's a very ugly look
It's
what
the
ensues.
good thing is that very few people enjoy Michael.
Yeah. For some reason, Tiffany is just like,
Tiffany
"I gotta
thinks
hitch my
it's a
wagon to
smart
this."
move to
Yeah.
attach herself or to attach herself to Michael in as much as she feels that there's a strong chance he's a traitor, so maybe he'll protect her.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I'm just like,
Don't.
do you really think
Yeah,
Michael's a traitor?
he's
Like,
not
he's
smart enough.
such a dumbass. But the murdered player is Rob C, of course. And again, I just think that he clearly is like better maybe as an analyst of the game because
That's why he has a podcast.
he has a very successful podcast. But like, he doesn't have quite the level of social game where he's able to convince people
To
that he's
protect
not a
him.
threat, to
Right.
protect him, like, that they need him specifically, like, maybe he just keeps getting unlucky, but I was like, it was too easy to be like, "He's smart, he's gotta go." Rob R. also feels like this is a good way to shift suspicion onto Michael, because Rob C. voted for Michael,
Yeah.
which is smart. After this murder, Jam Jam is like, "The gamers are being targeted."
I'm like, "My guy, the gamers
Yeah.
are always targeted at the beginning." Specifically, like, random gamer men tend to be in the first batch of murders,
Yeah.
basically every season, because there's not a lot to go off of, no strong alliances have been formed, but people know, these guys, by their own admission, are, like, good at strategy and observant. So, like, why would we
Yeah.
want them around? Like, as the
Exactly.
traitors.
Yeah. And especially I think because we are seeing that, like, a lot of the men who seem valuable in challenges because they're, like, strong and athletic are not gamers this season,
Right.
that people are like, "Well, we can have these, like, big hunks here to, like, throw
Push
logs
things.
around and
Yeah.
push things. We don't need these gamer men." People always also get anxious about being targeted too. They're just like, "They're murdering us. They're murdering us." Michael and Jam Jam end up getting into a big fight at the breakfast table because the minute that Michael is like someone is the bad guy, he becomes so nasty and
His
disrespectful.
vibes are noxious
It's
100% of the
really
time.
it's kind of upsetting. I was like, I didn't realize that it would be so close to the surface all the time. I was like, I
Oh,
knew
no,
that
it's
I
right
didn't like
there.
him, but
It's
it's right
right
there.
there.
Oh, whenever he talks to him, it just seems like there's such a deep well of, like, contempt and, like, "Why should I have to treat you like a person? You're obviously, like, vile." That I think is just really off-putting,
You
and
think?
it and
It
it
is
just
off-putting.
bothers me that other people are going along with it, even though I know that it's strategic because a lot of them do think that Jam Jam is a traitor or he's a really good gamer, and so he's a threat either way. But I'm like, still, do you have to feed into Michael being like it's like he wants to say a slur, you know? It's like
Ugh.
he's like, "Oh, I wanna say it." That's how it feels when he talks to Jam Jam after this point.
I need Michael to go. I
Ugh,
request
yeah,
it.
I
I
can't.
need him to go. So,
Ugh.
before the mission, Alan comes in and throws another twist. There is going to be a round table now.
What?
Crazy.
Crazy.
This is kind of crazy because it means that the traitors have not gotten to reconvene at all. Like, there's been no chance for them to chat, even like in a corner. And also, there's been no chance for the other players to kind of reach a consensus about who they think
Right.
might be a traitor. Like, they don't have the challenge to read people more. It's just, no, go right into it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that I liked this. I was like,
It's
"Let's
like,
space
guys, let it
out
cook a
people
little
leaving
bit.
a little, let it cook." Slow down. They must have some big twist planned for the second half of the season because, as you pointed out, they're kind of front loading some of these big
Yeah, I
twists
think
that
they
they
have a
do.
lot. I think they have a lot up their
Yeah.
sleeve.
And like, I wonder if they'll bring in mid-season people at all.
Yeah, I guess they have the last, right? They've done it
Yeah,
before.
they have, and they're getting rid of people fast enough. They're
Yeah,
gonna have to
I
supplement. I
guess
don't
we'll
know. We'll
see.
see.
I'm sure there will be at least one like added traitor or something at some point because there usually is.
So there's just a little bit of time before the round table. So people are quickly trying to like get their shit together. Like, people are saying, like, "Well, who are we gonna vote for?" And then the response is just like, "We you have to stick with the group." And it's like, "Well, yeah, what's the group saying?" Like, no one knows.
Colton kind of decides to take this one upon himself. He's like, I thought it was Donna at the last round table. I was convinced by Ron to go against my instincts and vote for Portia. I regret that. We have to just go for Donna.
He is in the proud tradition of bachelor men
I
who
know.
are traitor
I was like, this
hunters.
is giving Pilot Pete.
I have to say it kind of tracks because the whole role of The Bachelor is to try to suss out people who are hiding ulterior
Right, there
motives.
for the wrong reasons, and he's like, "I love
Right.
you, Donna, but I'm sensing something." And he's,
Yeah.
like, confident enough to stick to his guns. I will say, I was a little bit impressed with Colton.
I you know, I still feel very conflicted about Colton being on the show
Yes,
at all,
fair enough, I
but
agree.
he is giving more than I expected.
Much better in this role than as a host. Never let him host anything, my
Never
god.
script a line for him.
Yeah.
Like some people, they need to just like be themselves, you know? And who he is someone who wants to risk the wrath of the Swifties in order to follow his gut. So that's where Colton is gunning. Candace is ceding suspicion about Ron to Monet, because it seems like people don't trust him so much after what happened, and that's, like, kind of a safe person, I think, to talk about. Candace also thinks the secret traitor is probably Ron, Donna, or Michael, but the traitors seem, like, a little bit conflicted about whether they wanna protect the secret traitor or not.
Right, because I think they know that it's great to keep their numbers up, but also they don't know who the secret traitor is, so they can very genuinely kind of go for someone, and if they happen to get the secret traitor, then they've just given a win to the whole group, and, like, it'll throw them off the scent for a little bit.
Right, like, there's a little bit of traitor solidarity and, like, the desire to see them and work with them, but yeah, also, they could be the first
And
sacrifice.
they don't have that loyalty to them because they don't know who they are, and they, like,
Right, they
haven't
haven't
worked
actually worked
together.
together.
Yeah.
No, they talk about it sort of like, "Well, we should because 'cause we're traitors, we should stick together." But, like, at the end of the day, if a traitor is gonna be
It
sacrificed,
should be the secret
it's
one. Yeah.
right, not one of
Yeah.
us, like, we're a little gang, like, we get together in the turret and we go, "Ee!" Tiffany, this is when she decides to give some blunt but correct feedback to
This is, like,
Michael.
so amazing. She pulls him into a secret room and is like, "Sir, fucking chill.
"You need to calm down."
Like, please
In the
stop
words
going at Jam Jam. That's too much.
in the words of Donna Kelsey's future daughter-in-law,
You
"You
need to
need to
calm
calm
down."
down." Yeah, and he, of course, is willing to give a lot of feedback, but he is not willing to take it even from his
He's
closest
like, "Yes, yes,
ally.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. I will not be chilling out."
He's like, "Is this game called a popularity contest? Is it called making friends?
I'm like,
No, it's
"Kind
called
of.
the tra."
Kind
No,
of
it
is."
literally is a
Yeah.
popularity contest. Not completely, like, but, like, yes, it is very valuable to you if people like you and they want you to stay
Yeah, it's
around.
very bad for you if people think you're really obnoxious because they will just tire of you and they
And
will just vote you out.
and guess what? You can't then go to them and be like, "That's not what the game
Or
is about." Yes, it is. It just became about that when they voted for you or when they murdered you from the turret.
good
Like,
lord.
he's like, "I shouldn't have to be
Mess.
likable." Um, but she's like, "Please, like, you really have to just, like,
Chill the fuck
you
out.
you can find traitors, but if you don't get people on your side, then it's not going to mean anything that you
She's like
found the
literally
traitors."
explaining the most basic tenets of the game.
Also, like, he's not actually finding traitors.
No.
He's just, like, picking up on names that other people are saying,
She's
and
just
then
like, "Well, I agree
becoming,
with
like,
you."
really and
Because
yeah,
Tiffany feels like, oh, Jam Jam as a strong gamer is going after some of the other strong gamers. Like that's her logic. She's like, it makes
right.
sense to her. The murders make sense to her as coming from Jam Jam. So she's like, okay, Michael, I agree with you, but you gotta chill out.
One other thing about Michael that's really annoying me is that he is, like, this huge Housewives super fan, and he kind of acts like that means that he is entitled to their respect.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
he's, like, so angry and wounded that they could ever dare to think that he would murder or banish a housewife because he is, like, more housewife than the
He's like,
housewives
it would hurt me
themselves.
more than you.
Always the centering of himself, like, even for the within the housewives universe, he's like, I love you guys so much that I actually am more important in the housewives world than you in a sense, and my feelings about you guys matter more than your own feelings about yourselves. It's just, like,
It was
crazy. Even
so
when he's
annoying.
being a fan, he somehow is such a self-centered dick about it.
No, I just need him off my screen.
Ugh.
I
Isn't he supposed to be funny? Like, is he's supposed to be
he's
sort of like a comedian?
he's not succeeding.
It's not working for
It's
me.
really not. But at the same time as Tiffany is telling Michael to chill the fuck out, Donna is seeding Michael's name, which of course is already out
Mm,
there.
yeah.
She points
She's
out like Rob C voted for Michael and then he got murdered. And Jam Jam is like, yeah, that's a really good point, Donna.
So it's time for the roundtable and the banishment. And once again, it is a little bit chaotic because of Michael, but they soldier through. Candace points out that Ron flipped the script at the previous banishment, and that's suspicious. Colton brings up Donna and is like, I regret changing my vote. It's gonna always just gonna haunt me. I never really feel like I heard anything from you that changed my mind. So can you defend yourself to me? And she sort of does. She's like, I know you're all gunning for me, but like the reality is I'm just like fangirling. Like I'm just a normal mom and you're all like
Celebrities.
celebrities. But I did try to talk more to everyone
And
today.
she did. She did. She got more in the
Yeah.
game. And
And
Candace is like, well, sure, 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 all true. But you have to admit, you'd make a really good traitor because of all those things.
right. And Donna's like, so would you.
Yeah.
Tiffany asked Donna directly who she suspects, and she says Michael. And
Michael is incensed, obviously.
how dare you? He is a faithful, and he is also the dopest and the best looking faithful. He'll say it now, and he'll say it if they vote him out. And they all just look exhausted.
Oh,
They're
they
like,
are exhausted. Kristen is like, oh, we're doing this again. My
this is
God.
just one of those moments where I'm like, I think that this is supposed to be sort of like comedy, but everyone just looks so weary and
Well, they're
not
just like,
amused.
this energy is too much. Everyone's like, we're trying to have a good time, and your
Yeah.
vibe is just bad.
And it's not coming across as like comedically self-deprecating to be like the old, like ill-looking white male comedian being like, I'm the best looking, I'm the smartest, obviously. It just comes across like for some reason he really does think
Yeah,
he's
well,
better
that's
than
the
everyone
problem. It's like
else.
not landing. He also, of course, at this point throws Jam Jam's name out there.
Ugh,
And like, yeah, everyone is just exhausted. It's clear that he is wearing on them. And this is when I became convinced that hopefully in the near future, they will just vote him out because he's a distraction. And even if he's a faithful, he's like not a helpful faithful. And no one wants him to
yeah.
win.
Ever since like he and Jam Jam had that altercation where he wanted to have the Jam Jam's token to get the shield. He just like brings that up over and over again in these discussions, and everyone's like, "But that's not actually about whether Jam Jam is a traitor at all. Like that tells us nothing about whether Jam Jam is a
Right. You're
traitor."
just bitter you didn't get that shield. But
Right,
like,
and they're all just like, "Why are we talking about this instead of about literally anything that has to do with who might be a traitor?" And Michael's like, "I'm just trying to play this game and, like, say my piece, and I'm always gonna give it to you straight because 'cause I'm just like I'm a guy from New York City who's, like,
stop
tough,
claiming
and
our
I say."
city. Stop it, Michael. No, we're not going to do that. You
I
don't get to
listen.
claim all of New York City. I know you're from New York City. You you're not going to be the face of the city, okay? We're not doing that.
There's a point where he brings up that, like he's like, I just think we should be looking at someone like Jam Jam who's, like, really, good at, like, deflecting and, like, throwing names out there and, like and turning things around." And they're like, "It sounds like you're talking
You?
about yourself." Like, they're literally all like, "Yeah, that's you, Michael. You're doing all those things." Like, they're like, "We're done." Like
So at a certain point, they just have to vote.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. They end up having this chaotic conversation that's all about Michael's personal grievances, and then Alan comes in, and they're like, "Oh my
I'm
god.
like, okay,
Okay."
great. We're just going to vote. And the group clearly is like, we just need to all coalesce around one person. that person is Donna, because Donna almost got banished the night before. They need the answer to the question. There's enough of them
Yeah.
questioning whether Donna's a traitor. And some of them, as they vote for her, they even say, I don't, I'm not 100% convinced, but it's going to be hanging over us. Like, we need to make this decision.
Yeah, and I think, like, a lot of people actually don't really suspect. I think Tiffany is one of the only people who suspects Michael is a traitor, which is why it's so
Yeah.
funny that she's, like, sucking up to him so much because, like, most of them I think clearly are just like, he's not smart
He's
enough.
just an idiot.
He's just an idiot, and, like, he's so annoying, but I don't think he's a traitor, so Donna is really the only viable person who is getting much conversation
Yeah, and
at
no
this
one
roundtable,
seems like
so
no one's dying to gun for Ron, because their logic is, well, we'll gun for Ron if Donna is a traitor, because he was
right.
standing up for Donna.
Yes, 100%. The first to be examined, and to my utter shock, because I am so bad at
I know.
this,
Same.
she is a traitor.
This was incredible. Also, after it was revealed, I was like, of course. That is an inspired choice for secret traitor. Someone who can work alone. She's unassuming. We also
Mhm.
get a great series of flashbacks where we get to see Donna being told she's the traitor. We get to see her like in her cloak chatting with Alan, doing the little short lists. It's great. She's giving interviews where she's like, I'm gonna be the sweet mom by day and a devious traitor by night. She looks at the camera and she's like, it'll just be a hoot. It is so cute.
It is like it's a cozy mystery vibe,
I just was
like
like, I love you. Like, this is like,
Yeah,
I mean,
this was her moment.
this was a prolific run, even though it was so short. Only 3 episodes, but the impact is high.
Yeah, like, I will say, Donna was maybe in some ways a little bit too well covered. Like,
Yeah.
so many people were like, "What a perfect cover it would be," that she's just like the sweet mom next door. I do think she's not quite experienced enough at being on TV and being on these shows to cover her tracks. A lot of people noticed that her demeanor changed after the reveal. So there was like, she didn't play a perfect game,
I do think,
but it
however, the
was a
casting
really fun
choice
watch.
was made in part because they didn't really care if she didn't play a
Yeah.
perfect game, right? Like, this was such a good reveal. It was such a good beginning to the season. It was a great twist. It was really satisfying to watch. And it gave her this like starring moment, but she didn't need to be a perfect game player.
And it exactly, and then you haven't, like, gotten into the core of the traders group,
Right.
so you can't use her to pick other people off, but at the same time, they get some trader blood early,
It's
and
great.
yeah, and that allows you to kind of elevate to the level of a trader, someone who maybe actually isn't very good or experienced,
Exactly.
without collapsing the whole trader core.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I thought this was so genius. And she is just having the time of her life. Like, she gives her exit interview and she's literally weeping to the camera. She's like, this has been a dream come true. I've just had like the time of my life. And I was like, Mama Kelsey, I love you.
Yeah, she's so happy,
She's so
like,
cute.
everything is coming up Donna Kelsey right now. Can you imagine, like, you could be sitting here right now in, like, 35 years. You could be at, like, at the peak of American pop
I mean,
culture,
yeah, it's kind of incredible. Like, she keeps
you
saying,
know
like, at this point in my life,
right?
I
Because
never
like,
thought this would happen.
when she was our age, well, I don't know how old she is, but, like, when she was at this same stage in her life
How
as we
old is
are.
she? She's 73.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she was our age, she was just a mom and, not like a celebrity. Not to say that she was only a mom as a person, but like she was
She was not a public figure.
right, a private citizen raising her kids to be NFL stars. And look at her now. Like that could be us in our early 70s.
I mean, I love it. I love
It's
it for her, and I
inspiring.
love it. It is inspiring, and she's just really great, and you can tell also that there's gonna be so much affection for her among the cast, like, now. like post
Yeah.
show. Like she's gonna be fun at the reunion.
Yeah. Well, they're all like, "We're so sorry. Please
Please spare us,
don't."
Swifties.
I don't want snakes in my comments, or the opposite. I don't know. I don't follow the Swiftie wars enough. Don't come for me, Swifties. Um, so Rob, Candace, and Lisa are shocked along with everyone else, and they're also bummed because they're not going to get to meet up with the secret traitor. But they're also like, this does work for us. Like, we have thrown off the scent a little bit. They've gotten a traitor.
They all voted for her very strongly.
And now people are gonna be pursuing, like, the Donna clique,
Right.
maybe,
And
as
they
opposed
don't
to.
know that Donna was the secret traitor. So they have no idea
Exactly.
that Donna was not in cahoots with the rest of the traitors, which is
And it
very
seems like the
helpful.
traitors themselves didn't know that they weren't gonna know who the secret traitor was, so
No.
probably no one realizes that there
Right.
even was a secret traitor.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think so. I think people know that
Yeah,
there was a traitor that was selected early, but they don't know that the other
right.
traitors were not working with her.
Right,
So
so
it's
this is
really
great cover
great.
for them.
Yeah, it's great. Rob gives an interview where he's like, I love that woman. She would have been such a good teammate if we could have deflected from her earlier, but it's too late. Sorry, Donna. Is she married? Probably.
He's like, "I really like her, and I mean that genuinely." Like, he
Yeah.
assumes everyone thinks he's gonna be like, just, like, joking. It's like, "No, I really mean that. Is she married?" And now it's time for their next mission. Everyone is told to pair up with the player they trust with their lives, but there is an odd number of people, and so the first part of the challenge is just, are you not the most unpopular person there?
And poor Ron. Poor
Poor
Ron is
Ron.
just like, I know it's me.
Yeah. He's the scapegoat right now. He's the one who has to sit a little bit apart from everyone else. The pairs end up being Steven and Jam Jam, Candace and Tara, Lisa and Dorinda, Natalie and Monet, Colton and Caroline, Michael and Tiffany, Rob R and Maura, Johnny and Eric, and Mark and Kristen.
This is when Tara and Johnny say again that they are very intentionally not pairing up.
Yeah. And I thought that Tiffany pairing up with Michael, interestingly, is casting some suspicion on her.
It is because
Like,
everyone's
people are
like,
like,
why?
why would you do this? And she's doing it for the protection of someone who can give her no protections.
Right.
Like, what a
It's
wasted opportunity.
truly incredible stuff.
But she is not one to second guess herself. She's like, I think he's a traitor. I'm gonna go for
She's like,
the
keep your
protection that I
enemies
need.
closer. And then each pair plus Ron is taken into the woods and has to stand in front of a cage. And they
Of
learn
course.
that one member of the pair has to be locked in the cage while the other player has to like do the challenge in order to fight for their partner's life and free them from the cage. And at the end of the challenge, any player still left in their cage will be shortlisted for murder. And because Ron doesn't have a partner, he's automatically up for murder.
Yeah. So tough break for Ron.
Rough stuff.
He just
Really
has to sit in a cage.
rough stuff. So Ron, Michael, Eric, Lisa, Caroline, Jam Jam, Natalie, Kristen, Maura, and Candace end up being the ones in the cages. And Kristen wisely wonders if any of the players in the cages actually volunteered because they are traitors. It's always rough when you end up in this situation because like one person has to volunteer.
Right.
But it is a way for people to start wondering if you're a traitor.
Right. That you don't have to be concerned about being killed. So the non-cage players have to search the woods for skulls and stack 10 skulls on their partner's cage to free them. Not human skulls.
No,
They're
like
like little animal
They look like
skulls.
mini antelope skulls or something.
Yeah. And
They
they only have 10 minutes, which seems like the skulls must have been very easy to find,
they
except for
except
Johnny
for Johnny. I mean, I think the skulls were quite easy to find, and then I think they were very difficult to stack.
to stack.
This looked
Yeah.
this was stressing me the
Well,
fuck
because
out.
they looked really hard to stack, and then some of them had to start over like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, "And they still finish?" Like, they must have found the skulls within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, only well, I remember they had, like, 6 minutes left, and basically everyone was back except
Except
for
for Johnny.
Johnny.
Johnny never comes back.
Poor
Johnny's still in the
Eric.
marsh.
Poor
Johnny's in the
Eric.
swamp.
Poor Colton is, like, the first one to get all of his skulls, and then he keeps getting to, like, the 10th skull, and the stack just keeps toppling over, and he's getting so nervous because he feels so bad for Caroline Stanbury, who is his partner, that his hands are just shaking wildly. I felt so bad. I felt so bad for
Yeah,
him.
he's got a full violent tremor.
Mark does too.
Yeah, I mean, 2 people who I would think would be actually kind of, like, accustomed to high pressure situations and, like, controlling their fine motor skills in those
I know. Well,
settings.
that's what Caroline says.
So Colton does manage to stack all of his skulls, I think.
No, he
No, he
doesn't.
doesn't. No, he doesn't. Someone else does, who
And
has them
Mark
fall
doesn't
over.
either. Yeah, a few
Yes,
people, yeah, a few people. I think Tara's falls over,
but she does
but
get
she
it just, like, at
does.
the very last
Yeah,
second.
and Tiffany
Tiffany,
also. Tiffany's fall over,
same.
and then she ends up. Rob Roush actually is, like, the first
I
to
mean,
do it.
he is a snake catcher, so, nerves of steel,
Yeah, and he
and
and he is like, "Look, I feel like I really have to do this for Mora." He's like, "I know I know I'm a traitor, but she's just being a really good partner."
well, he's just like, "Yeah, I'll just do it. It's fine." And Maura's, like, gazing at him
Yeah,
starry-eyed, and I
she's
was like,
like,
"Maura,
"Free
you know what
me."
kind of show this is, right?" She's like, "I just really trust him, and he's so strong, and I know that I can count on him, and he's doing such a great job." And I'm like, "Maura, calm down. Like, this is not a dating show."
So Mora is freed by Rob, Steven frees Jam Jam, Monet frees Natalie, Tiffany frees Michael, Tara frees Candace just under the wire. Poor Mark finishes his stack like just after the timer goes off. At the end, Ron, Kristen, Lisa, Eric, and Caroline are all up for murder. Alan tells them that they will be tied to trees to await their fates, and then one of them will be murdered by the traitors face to face.
Ooh, I love the
I
face-to-face
love the face to
murder.
face. I'm gonna say I maybe preferred the church setup because that
That
was
was
so
drama.
cinematic.
It was so good. They were like, that was actually a lot of budget and a
Yeah.
lot of work to set up. But this is a little bit more
This
like,
is spooky.
it's spooky. It feels like they're doing sacrifice,
Yeah.
like
Ooh, it's Yellow
maybe
Jackets.
yeah, exactly. Who will be taken by the elements. In the cars on the way back, Colton tells Johnny and Tara that he found the Tiffany and Michael pairing very odd.
I mean, correct.
Like, if you intentionally spend time around Michael at this point,
It's a
everyone's
red
gonna be
flag.
like, "Why? What are you getting out of this?"
So Colton says he's just going to keep his eye on Tiffany. Back at the castle, the players are all eating dinner and chatting. And Colton kind of asks Tiffany about this directly. And Tiffany says she does actually still suspect Michael of being a traitor, but she's more focused on Ron right now. And she also thinks that Jam Jam is killing off the other gamers.
Yeah, she's like, "I think these 3 people are traitors, including the person I trust the most in
Yeah.
this game that I'm spending the most time with." And Colton's like, "Uh,
Yeah,
okay."
this does not make Colton less suspicious of Tiffany.
And Colton has, like, the wind beneath his wings right now.
I
He's
know.
got the
I
confidence
do
of
think he's going to overplay his hand like
the
Pete did, but
the confidence of a slightly observant
yeah,
himbo who manages to nab a traitor
one
in the
win.
first few episodes is like, it goes straight to their head. He's like, "I think that I have some sort of they could make a TV show about me having a special ability to sense who a traitor is." So the safe players go to sleep, the at-risk players are out there tied to trees,
Except for Lisa.
except for Lisa. Meanwhile, Candace, Rob, and Lisa meet in the turret, and they discuss whether to kill Caroline, Ron, Eric, or Kristen.
Also, this is the first time that they've all been together since like the secret
Right.
murder. So it's also when Candace tells Lisa and Rob that Rob C had correctly identified that a murder was happening in plain
Well,
sight.
and so much is happening. Like, I don't know what the filming days are like, but, like, in theory, this is just the one night that,
Yeah.
like,
But
one day
so
has
much has
passed.
happened.
So much has happened. And I know they do have, like, long, intense filming days.
Oh
So,
yeah, I think this schedule is actually quite grueling from what I've heard.
yeah. They go through the list, they debate the merits, and like they don't have very many options, but they're like, okay, so Ron is a chaos pick, which is good. That's what we've been doing. We never pick anyone who points back to us, and that's working for us. Lisa and Candace feel like maybe they should go with Caroline because no housewives have been murdered yet.
Which I do think
Is smart.
is smart because at a certain point people are going to be like, why have no housewives been murdered yet? Like I think
Yeah.
like Portia being banished threw people a little off of that,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
Caroline it would be an interesting choice for that reason.
Eric would point to none of them also, just like Ron, and therefore good chaos. And they're like, Kristen is really smart. They feel like she's a threat and maybe a good person to have out of the way. So then we see them in the woods in their robes, like standing in front of the people tied to trees. And then the people tied to trees have to like plead their
And
case.
clearly each they clearly each are like given a turn to be tied to the tree. Like the filming, they're not all tied to the trees at the same time.
They're different
Yeah,
trees.
they're different
Or they're the
or they're
same
the same
tree.
tree, but like they're cycled out.
It makes it seem like they're just there in the dark, and then suddenly they sense figures nearby, and they're like, "Please,
I know. It's so
please,
funny.
don't take me."
It just made me start wondering about the mechanics. I was like, where are they being kept in between when they have their
Right.
time being tied to the tree? Like, when are they
Right.
fed? Where are they fed? Like, yeah.
Fed, like they're being left out to the elements to decide their fate. So Eric says that he has very special skills that could prove useful to the traitors, and if they kill him, he hopes that his spirit haunts
He like
them.
splits the difference. He's like, I'm going to threaten them, but also plead with them.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, say more about the skills
Yeah.
because
Well,
poor Eric, I will say, is probably dying to show off some skills because he sacrificed his safety to be the one who sat in the cage and then sent Johnny, the Olympic athlete, out to do the skulls.
I,
And Johnny, he was like, I think he's just wafting around the
yeah, he's like,
swamp.
I don't understand. He's an athlete. Poor Johnny.
And
Johnny is like, none of these challenges have really been tailored to my skills.
yeah, there are no triple axles. There are no toe loops. There are no
We
figure
need a
eights.
challenge on ice.
And we
I
had
mean, for
challenge on
us,
ice, please. It only seems right. And so then we see Kristen saying she doesn't beg and she doesn't worry about anything she can't control. Caroline says that she's the least of the traitor's problems and she's not ready to die.
fair.
Um, Ron says he's been waiting for this and he's like, you better kill me now. If you don't kill me now, you'll regret it. Show me your faces. And I was like, this is a wild move, but he's got to know that he's up for banishment. So they probably won't want to
Yeah, I
kill
actually
him.
do not think that they will kill Ron, but I do think he's likely to be banished soon.
Well, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
why would they send away someone who could cover for them?
I'm kind of thinking they're going to kill Caroline.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. I
Yeah.
think it makes the most sense. And we leave it there. I'm really excited for episode 4 next week.
Me too. Me too. I think we're getting 2 episodes next week, 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Yeah, so a lot of tricks and treats in our future. I love this show. I'm in 3 episodes and I'm like, we've hit the ground running, baby. And on that note, that's it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Love to See It as a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Kinney-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about Love to See It.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at Emma Lady Rose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Peter Arriaga, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Shook.
We'll be back soon.
Can you keep